Doing okay? You doing okay? She's doing pretty well, actually. She's skip around without walking. They can walk around in the yard. She's getting a little bit too sure, so a little nervous.
She's a very independent woman.
Hmm?
She's a very
She is. She doesn't take any crap off of me. Don't say it. Yeah, you can see the opening in it.
Wasn't planning on saying word.
Yeah. No, someone's only there for 54 years. How you doing? Good. Sarah's not gonna be here.
No.
Long and Irie.
No. Said texted her yesterday. Said it was the longest 5 you know, she hates flying. Longest 5.5 hours of her life.
Where did she fight? She in Hawaii.
Oh.
The girl just wrote there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you love that?
Oh, really? So.
A girl, like she,
Yeah, I read that.
yeah, she just rode a boat
Yeah.
all the way to Hawaii
No way.
by herself. Yes,
Yeah.
like 30.
No way.
How
Yeah,
long does that
I read that
take?
too.
I'm not sure. I don't even know if she's there yet. Okay.
All right. Roll call, please, clerk.
Councilmember Wilson. Present. Councilmember Hooten.
Here.
Councilmember Kramer.
Here.
Mayor Slotin.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Downey is absent.
Right. Go to the presentation of the fiscal 2026 budget workshop. Mr. Miller.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Mayor, council member. So I have a few slides, not a lot, pretty high level. Then some of the key actions that we had to take to balance the budget. So feel free to interrupt at any time, do it as a question, and then if you want, we could also go and dig into our online budget portal. If you have a specific question you'd like to answer. Okay. So that would be helpful to start by just a quick overview of the strategic plan goals that the council set last year. Number one, I put that in bold because that was underlined as the most important, being economic development, continuing to improve public facilities and infrastructure, celebrating Clearlake, making sure Clearlake is clean, fiscally sustainable, and safe. So just a little bit of economic outlook. We'll start with sort of the U.S. outlook. Continuing to see economic expansion. Just so you know, most of these notes came from Beacon Economics. So one of the leading economists here in California. Maybe no surprise to you that there continues to be a lot of federal gridlock. Congress does very little these days. Of course, the Iran war, which we understand may be coming to an end, has had significant impact on oil prices, global trade, etc. Hopefully, those bumps will be smoothed out here soon. One interesting thing, even with economic expansion, the labor market nationally is flat. It's not growing a lot, which is one of the kind of negative signs that balances out some of the economic expansion. But one of the key parts of the U.S. economy is consumer spending. It remains positive. Disposable income is up. It's largely attributed to some of the tax policies in the Big Beautiful Bill. Federal budget deficit is, something that we've heard about for decades, really, but it's definitely at a place that is far above anything that's ever been seen in history of the United States. Now 6% of GDP, which is up 3 times over just 10 years ago. There's a lot of concern about, at some point this is going to have to be dealt with. Federal Reserve policy to help deal with that. You may have just seen that a lot of folks were kind of hoping we have a new Federal Reserve chairman now, and that perhaps the interest rates would be pushed down a little bit further in order to increase spending and borrowing out there. They did have a meeting. They didn't give any real direction, but there was some concern coming out of that because inflation has begun to tick up again. They may actually look at raising interest rates again soon, which is exactly the direction we'd like to. In spite of all this, the outlook is really for moderate growth in the near term, and over the next year or so, they're predicting about 2.5% next year. If we look at California, there's also some different factors going on there. The economy here continues to grow, but the job market is actually shrinking, which is concerning. California, the economy itself is outpacing the growth that is happening nationally by about 0.5%. Consumer spending is rising at a significant amount, of 5%, but we have the highest unemployment rate of all 50 states now, 5.5%. It's pretty unusual to have a higher unemployment rate than a lot of the southern states, actually. And there's a lot more interesting we could dive in on this, but the number of jobs we have actually shrank since the beginning of the year, and a lot of this is being attributed to back to the AI sector. So for a pretty long period of time, government has been the largest industry sector in California, which is maybe a little surprising, but it's not hard to figure out some of the state issues we deal with, and the enormous regulatory machine that exists in California as a result of that. But the information sector, where AI is categorized, is now the largest sector of the economy in California. AI is interesting because it requires a pretty low number of employees, but a very high amount of economic output, which is just growing exponentially right now. So it's really causing a cooling in home prices, and no meaningful expansion in the recent term. Should not say inner residential permits, but in residential building permits. So they're expecting AI to continue to drive significant growth, which helps state revenues. As most of you know, the state is very reliant on capital gains tax, and so state revenue is pretty volatile. But when there's a boom going, the state does very well, investors do well, the average worker, not so well. So they're expecting continued volatility in the state budget. If we look at Clearlake a little bit, our costs, and I'm really, we have a lot of different costs in several different funds, but largely focus on the general fund here because that's really the discretionary revenue that the council has and relies on for the bulk of city services. Our costs continue to grow faster than our revenues. Sales tax has really been a slow decline over the last several years. It is currently projected to increase in sort of future years from this point, starting in 27, 28, but at a very small amount, a few $1,000 increase. But of course, that's based on the existing businesses that we have. Back to the economic development focus, that's really one thing that can have an impact that we have to focus on to have a significant impact on the available resources we have. I also wanted to point out that property tax, which is normally very stable, has been somewhat unpredictable lately based on what we discovered with the county's practice of doing negative apportionments as a result of deficit tax sales. So a few years ago, they reduced our property tax by over $300,000 without notifying us. There's some other negative apportionments that are expected in the near term. And we've been having a lot of conversations with them on how to deal with that to avoid this happening. If you have questions, we could go into that a little bit more, but it'll be a pretty significant impact for us. Community expectations seem to be higher with each year. I know you've probably all heard me say this a number of times, but I felt like my job as city manager was much easier when I first started because no one expected a whole lot. And we produced a number of things and given folks hope, which is good. But with all those improvements, results in increase in expectations. So, in order to shift the revenue cycle, the last few years, what we've really been doing is just doing our best to trim expenses in order to absorb cost increases with shrinking revenues. And, we can't continue to do this. So there's going to have to be some discussion of tax increases, or my preference would be continuing to focus and lean into economic development efforts, but something is going to be needed to support and expand services. We have a poor community largely, and I don't think forcing more taxes on our community is a great way to go, but something's going to have to change. Fortunately, we are continuing to see a lot of interest in development. Still affordability of land and living here in California, particularly the North Bay, is continuing to drive growth. And by that, I mean largely population growth to Clearlake. And so we do expect that growth to eventually result in a number of additional development projects, which will help support. As I just mentioned, development interest remains high. We've got some very significant projects we're working on. But as you all know, unfortunately, most of these projects take a number of years to do design, put funding together, etc. And they're difficult to build, very extensive. Pause there real quick to see if we have any questions about it.
Why do we think sales tax is gonna rise in 27?
Well, I think it's just more related to general economic conditions that they're seeing out there. I mean, it's a little hard to compare even the state of California or the United States with consumer spending here in Clearlake. I don't believe that we see as many dips and highs because of the level of public assistance that a lot of our population receives, right? So, it's pretty stable and we don't have as much of, for example, a tourism sector like during COVID, Healdsburg, Capstone saw an enormous drop off in tax revenue where we didn't see that level of it. We would like to have more tourism, but because it's a smaller part of our economy, we don't see the ebbs and flows. But because a lot of folks are on a fixed income, fuel prices went up as an example, and we actually get more revenue when fuel prices are high. But from a consumer perspective, on a fixed income, that still has to travel around maybe to a job or whatever it may be, just has less to spend at another retailer. So I mean, there's a lot of factors there. It's a little hard to know what they all are, but I think that there is the expectation that we're going to start seeing more of the growth in building and borrowing investment nationwide that existed, maybe more than 10 years ago or something. Okay, so a few key points, this budget. So we look at the overall budget numbers, we'll look at those a bit. Overall budget is up significantly, and that's because of a lot of grant funding that we got for primarily the housing project up by the hospital, a few other grants. General fund is down slightly over last year. You'll recall the budget that was adopted last year included an over $1 million general fund structural deficit. So that means that expenses that were approved were over $1 million above the revenue that we expected to receive. And so we were relying on one-time funds or fund balance from previous years in order to cover that structural deficit. Obviously, and we talked about it at the budget hearings, that's not something that is certainly advised on doing over any long period of time. And so as we moved into, or really even a very short period of time, but into this budget year, one of the primary goals was making sure that the general fund had a balanced budget and there was not a structural deficit. And, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but again, this comes after multiple years of absorbing cost increases by cutting other things. And so, you can't, there's only so much you can cut various things. And so this year, one of the things that we, up to this point, we've not cut any staff as a result of that. This year, 6 positions in the budget are frozen. So that means the allocation is there, but there's no funding associated with it. And then one layoff in the community development department. So there were a couple of, I guess the timing was somewhat fortunate in the police department and public works that with different timing may have required layoffs in those departments, but we have a detective that his last day of work was today and he's leaving. So like that position was frozen, which normally would have filled. A dispatch position was frozen that we've been trying to fill for a period of time and have been unable to. And then the community service officer position, which was recently started the police academy to become a police officer, refilling that position is currently frozen in the budget. And, that's one of those things that, just to make sure you have some background, that, we can get away with that without having that non-sworn position. But there's a lot of other things that community service officers does. One of the big things is just transporting people to jail. And so while our officers can transport people to jail, it's a lot of time that they're not on the street. And so, that's something that we didn't feel like we had any other option at this point. And then Public Works, there's a couple of positions that have been vacant for a little bit. And then one Public Works employee that just left recently that we would have been refilling the position. And then I guess just on the one layoff, I mean, obviously, we looked at a number of options in the organization related to that. And, this is not something that any of us want to do, but it was determined that this position was one that other positions within the organization would be able to more easily fill the gaps. This is going to be more work now for folks that we have in so those jobs. I think just kind of talked about this a little bit, but all the budget units were basically in departments were asked to absorb all cost increases. I mean, there's some things that, we can make decisions on whether, we have to, replace a piece of equipment. Some equipment you kind of have to, but some things like our insurance, we don't have a lot of options. Our, insurance premiums went up $150,000 this year. So that was, an increase that had to be absorbed by other things. And then this budget really includes no significant budget requests from any department that weren't in the budget last year. There's just no funds for it. And then we continue to be more reliant on special funds to help fund things that are paid out of the general fund than is ideal over the long term. I'll just give one example. So what I mean by that, so we have the Measure P fund, which was passed by the voters in the 90s to support police services, has to be spent for police services. We have a number of police department employees that are paid directly out of that budget unit. This current fiscal year, fortunately, we had some savings. We try to use those savings in future years for equipment and other one-time expenses. But this year we had to push, even with the adjustments we talked about, we had to push more employees to be paid out of Measure P, more equipment purchases to be paid out of Measure P, and any extra fund balance in that fund is basically down to zero. So this is not something that we're going to be able to continue doing year after year, but we were able to do this year to avoid additional impacts to staff. Any questions?
Question, the officer from police department that went to the academy, that's one of the positions that was frozen.
No, well, the two, so we had already, before we kind of made final decisions on this, there's two other vacant positions in the police department where we had police trainees that were brought on, and they went to the academy a few weeks ago. So one was the former community service officer, and then one other new hire. Those two are going to the academy, and then we'll be back late this year. So those positions, we didn't take action to remove them from the academy.
Okay. They're still pursuing.
Yeah. So what we've been doing on that, just as a reminder, is once we have someone that passes all the background stuff, which takes many months to get through, we hire them as a police trainee and then send them to the academy. And then once they pass the academy, then we hire them as a police officer and they start their field training program. So it'll be next year before they're off their field training program. That's right, Chief?
Yes. Yeah, they're anticipated to graduate the academy approximately November 15th. And then if everything went perfect, the field training would be about 4 months. So we'd be looking, March, April of next year.
Out of curiosity, what
part of the insurance, or was it all across the board?
I think it was primarily our general liability. Did workers' comp was a part of that too?
Workers' comp was not as high of an increase as general
The
liability.
biggest one, sure.
General liability went up
Hmm.
exponentially.
Yeah. Well, and I should say, like, where I talked about absorbing cost increases, I mean, I didn't put this in a slide, but we went through and every general fund department, the overall budget is, even with salary increases and stuff that, you know, are agreed upon already through MOUs, uh, is less than sort of the base budget, which is like last year's budget. The only exception was there's a few $1,000s over for the finance department, because the finance manager position wasn't initially in the base budget last year. And so we almost got that one, but all the rest of them were actually below base budget, which wasn't particularly easy to do. And it's going to require a lot of adjustments from, I mean, all sorts of small things that we're used to spending money on. That's going to be, you know, not the same. Okay, so just a little bit of history here. So this is all funds. You see 63.4 million. And this is revenue. These other three are actuals. I think last year it would have been higher. You know, the big variance here is we're not sure the timing on a lot of capital projects. So, you know, we'll budget the big amount, and then this is what actually gets spent. But the bulk of this is the apartment project where we had, I think, somewhere around 40 million of state funding that's given to us, and then we pass along to the developer to complete that. If you look at the general fund, you can see here, it's the last few years. Again, 23, 24, 24, 25, 25 to 26 are the actuals. And it should clarify that the 10.3 million for this fiscal year is year to date. That's going to go up a little bit because we still have a little bit of time left for July 1. And the proposed budget is less than all of those at 10.1 million. So just kind of a bit of a breakdown. All funds again, all revenue 63 million. You see the grants making up almost 34 million of that. Property taxes, franchise fees have became a larger part of our general fund revenue, fortunately, over the last few years, and it's largely so we get franchise fees from Golden State Water, PG&E, MediaCom, and Clearlake Waste Solutions. Clearlake Waste Solutions is the one that continues to grow. The other ones very little. All expenses 67 million for all funds. Point out that that's a $4 million use of fund balance. So in this case, that is some portion of grant funding or other funding that we have already received but hadn't been spent yet. So it shows up on the expense side, but not the revenue side. Again, this breakdown between capital projects here, the way it's categorized in contract services, those are essentially, I mean, some of the contract services are things for, you know, subscriptions for various things and stuff like that. But it's really all capital projects. So almost the entire amount there that makes up those two categories. And then you can see about 10 million citywide for various personnel costs. Quick look at the general fund again, 10.1 million. That's rounding up slightly. On the revenue side, property and sales tax are our biggest pieces. Franchise fees, there are $1 million. Other revenues, which is in large part transfers in from other funds that I was talking about, Measure P, Measure V, other things. Supporting, for example, the cost of the annual audit can be shared with the other funds and not just paid by the general fund, so. And then on the expense side, general fund personnel services is the biggest piece. Well over 60%, 6.6, almost 6.7 million. Contract services for various things, supplies and so forth. So that's really the high level overview. Our recommendation, of course, is to adopt the budget as proposed, but I'm happy to address any questions. The big one.
The taxes from getting back to the county. Why is it so hard to get the tax collectors to do it?
Well, it's not a tax collector issue. It's an auditor's office issue. So, all this stuff involves really the 3 elected offices. You have the assessor, which, sets the rates. So they're all kind of involved in this stuff, but, it is a result of tax auctions that the tax collector conducts. But, once the auction happens and, payments are collected from the new buyer, then it's the auditor's office that does the calculations and disperses money to us and all of the other taxing agencies.
Having fall.
Well, it shouldn't be, but unfortunately it has been because in some cases they've been making overpayments to us and not telling us about it. And then once they get around, sometimes years later, to figuring it out, that's what a negative apportionment is. They're reducing our, like, say, current year property taxes that we're supposed to be guaranteed to receive in order to make up for what happened. And this is all based on an error that they made during the auction process, nothing that we did. And so, yeah, it's pretty frustrating. And it's been difficult to get some straight answers on what's happening. Supervisor Sabatier hosted a meeting just last Friday I was there, the tax collector's office, the auditor's office. And we got information at that meeting that there's an additional error he just recently discovered that they haven't told us about. So I don't know. I don't know the answer yet. I'm very concerned about it. It's frustrating because it's supposed to be that stable source, but it's quite concerning.
So when I just read that the auditor was basically reelected.
Yeah, no one ran for any of those 3 positions.
And they also thinking calling back, was their interest involved in that money they're trying to call it?
Well, again, I'm not saying I have a full picture because we haven't gotten all the information. My understanding is that they have not tried to collect interest. Now, it was raised by the auditor at our meeting last week that, well, maybe we could come after interest because you had money that you should have had for a while. But it's frustrating to have that thrown out when we didn't even know about it, and it was their mistake. They gave us money we shouldn't have had. So I don't know where that's all going to end up, but
What amount do you think when we're talking? 100,000?
well, it's at least 500,000 so far, and there's been a few auctions. I think at least 2 auctions that have happened that we haven't seen any numbers yet, so I don't know. But the tax collector told me that at least one of those auctions was bigger than any of the other ones as far as the amount of deficit sales, and that's really where the problem exists. So, yeah, I mean, it could be based on that. It could be, I don't know. I guess I don't know, another 500,000 or.
So that 500,000 has already been clawed back.
300,000, a little over 300,000. That's,
Out of which fiscal year?
it was a few, it was back like in 21.
But they're taking it, but it's come back.
And then, but there's 2 or 3 other sales, which is another over 200,000 that at any moment they're planning to call back. That's one of the urgencies I have in pushing this issue is I would like to have this issue resolved before there's actually, when they give us our next property tax payment, they could just take it out of there. I don't think they have a legal authority in this case to do that, but they,
So where is that showing up in our budget?
it's our budget, our general fund budget is based on the property tax revenue that we should normally expect to get. So if there's a reverse apportionment, it would immediately cause a deficit to what we have.
A couple 100,000. Wonderful.
Is this all a result from that they originally never did any tax sales? Just that's probably what it.
Well, I mean, the county would certainly argue that the volume of them and, our settlement agreement with them to, essentially follow state law because they were so far behind is what caused this. And it's more manageable when you have a smaller number, but it wasn't our fault that they weren't doing tax options. But yeah, I think the volume of it has made it more of a significant issue.
But we could pay the price in this upcoming budget.
Yeah. I mean, they're required to have a tax loss reserve fund, which they do. It's my opinion that they need to cover those issues when they make some error like that, or they claim their software is unable to do this calculation ahead of time.
So that's why they're getting all that new software there.
Well, one would hope. I don't think the software that they use for tax options is not part of the millions they're spending on that.
There's a little bit of sarcasm.
What to do with that?
No. Well,
Well, we can talk about what we can do about it at a later time, but I just think it's important for you to understand the potential impacts of it.
Wonder how the county is doing with their budget.
Well, I watched a few bits and pieces of their budget hearings. They had their budget hearings this week. I didn't watch yesterday's. Almost every agency in California is adopting deficit budgets.
What we did last year, but that's. It's the right way to do it, my opinion. You can't continue to have bits, once.
not looking at it, there's a very real possibility we'll be back into a deficit budget. Fall back, they're 200 grand.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody from the public wants to comment on this?
Would you like us to comment now or in public session?
You comment.
It's up to you, either one.
Yeah, we have no problem. You want us to sit down up there or just right here?
Whatever you want.
First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Mark Beauchamp. I'm with the Operating Engineers Local 3. I'm a business agent that represents VA. Up front, we're in marketing. I'm not here to discuss marketing. However, I'm here to discuss the one layoff. And name is Jessica Pollock. She's right here. Not just the one layoff, but what it represents. And the union does have concerns. Before we get into the concerns, I want to relay that we have a phenomenal working relationship with the city. Alan, Melissa Swanson, we've been working very well together. We've resolved many issues. Before we get into the specifics of the layoff, I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit more. Earlier in the year, I was reached out to by a member with significant issues with her supervisor. It was concerns over hostile work environment, harassment, and a litany of other issues. reached out to Swanson and Allen, and we sat down and we were able to work through those issues through some next few months. And we were able to find a resolution. We were able to move Jessica under the under Melissa as a supervisor. And things were going in a good direction. What we found out earlier this week is now the one layoff is Jessica. There's a lot of questions I have in regards to that. We haven't met and conferred over the layoff yet. I did notice in the presentation that the job duties and responsibilities are going to be absorbed by other staff. And again, we haven't met and conferred yet, but I did have a preliminary conversation with Melissa, and as of my knowledge right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be OE3. It's protected OE3 classification that there may be relying on non-represented people to pick up the desk. And I don't want to speculate. I don't want to cast aspersions or anything. I know we still are going to sit down and go into the details, but this is where. But this is preparations. That's what I'm looking in. That came to the union with the concern. We resolved it, and not actually made. It's not a far-fetched for membership in general to now say yes, whether or not if they have issues, whether or not. This is a road we don't want to go down. We have, like again, we have a great working history with OE3 in this city. And I have no doubt that any issues going forward, we're going to be able to sit down and have conversations, find middle ground. I happen to have reservations, concerns, and possible disagreements on again, I can't. We're talking about probably one of the lowest paid in the building. It was shared that she is the only one in the community development department. I'm questions on where the funding's coming from because her paycheck was on planning. And these are all things I'd love to sit down and go into detail on. We share our concerns, and what I'm asking for you is to maybe take another second to look into it and maybe give it another look before you guys. That's that's all I'm respectfully asking you. I'm not sure that her wages would move the decimal point in the grander scheme of things when we're already looking at 26, 27 to be going back in a good direction. But I wanted to also say that you're going to be her behalf, and if you're okay, she might have to do the same as well. On another note, we can talk at a different point in time. When it comes to anything political tax, you guys are looking at the tax measure. We increase here now. We did that with the smart trade the next 30 years. City of Santa Rosa is in a horrible spot. Going free and Labor Council from November, putting a tax measure together. We might have to do that over at St. Helena, and we are on board that for you guys as well. If that is, you reach a decision that you need assistance, the union's here to work.
Great, appreciate that. Thank you.
Mayor and members of the city council. Monday, the city manager gave me a letter informing me that he plans to lay me off pending the acceptance of his proposed fiscal year budget 26-27. I believe that this layoff is not due to financial constraints, but out of retaliation for getting my union involved because I needed a change of supervisor due to the building services manager harassing me. The building services manager created a toxic work environment for me for months, going as far as following me into the bathroom to harass me. My concerns about this went unheard. Only 2 months ago, I got a new supervisor and now I am being laid off. I am a permanent employee, certified for my role, bilingual, and a university graduate. I am not the employee with the least tenure, and I have served the city for almost 2 years. I am the least paid on City Hall side and the only one being laid off. I do not believe that the budget deficit cited requiring the layoff is accurate. In 2025, the city manager created and filled a brand new, unposted to the public, well-paid managerial level building services manager position. The city manager also paid for 2 separate week-long out-of-state workshops just this 2026 year for the same individual. For these reasons, I urge the members of the council to further investigate the fiscal year 26-27 budget before adoption tonight. Thank you for your attention.
Anybody else in the public budget? Back, I think is there any more information that we need to share?
I mean, I
Any more questions?
have any questions, I'll just reiterate, it's strictly financial. So
Right. All right, if not, we'll have a recess till 6 o'clock. Unless we have more questions. Okay. Recess till 6. Can you present? I was wondering if you're going to present next time. So that some. They well, we're from the amendments. Still. I understand if they want to.
Yes, I don't.
But I'm not sure that's gonna happen. Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, so the point is,
That I don't know.
I don't need it, I'm saying, nothing, all that's happened so far is. Asked to present
Correct.
draft, no one's voting.
So, but I mean, I'm not planning on, you know, break.
No, I don't want to.
I'm just, trying to bring that up, but.
Because I just want to. Because if you're just putting a draft and saying we should adopt it.
Fingers
and it
crossed.
doesn't contain 50.
It's good, I mean, if you have the land.
Rebecca. Yeah, I was calling them out. She said she's been having, she doesn't have regular periods. So she went to the doctor because she has like uterus
Yeah,
issues and
that's,
stuff.
this is where,
They're like,
this is where I
"You're
figured.
pregnant." She's like,
Line.
maybe possibly 6 months.
But yeah.
But they didn't know because her periods had never been regular because of her issues. So fingers crossed that it goes all the way. Yeah. Praying.
I could just not.
Praying.
Say, not believe. Okay. Hey, you know, I can tell you, we were really. I'll put her, I just don't think that Powell Brown Act at all. I'm telling you something. That should have been agenda separately if it was going to be decided, anything was decided about 51%. That's a big change. To me, when you.
It's just direction to staff, though. I mean,
It's still, hey, I heard
you
someone.
can talk about anything related.
You just said, that you also said they made it clear where they stood. I heard someone say up here, well, it sounds like it's 4-1. That sounds like a direction to staff.
But
I don't think it's.
they didn't take action. So
I.
if
It's
they
something,
would have tried to adopt the ordinance. Then you might
well,
have to argue.
clearly. I said, well, I guess it is, but this way, I don't know where the line is, but to me. Comes the line, all of a sudden. Something completely out of nowhere. It wasn't advanced. Like our people didn't come, be quiet, because they saw what was on that and said, well, we're in favor of that. I couldn't
We
even
can have an open discussion. So
Well,
that would have been one of those things that we got on first reading when that happened. And
it struck me, it's just pretty close to the line. That's all. It's huge. And also, I'm not gonna say this because they can't stand me. I don't think Jessica should be up this morning. Has someone checked it? Has someone checked it out? Oh, yeah. They say it's okay because she's got big profit. That's her business. Wrecking, I mean, houses an issue and all that. That's fine. I mean, you made 200. I don't know. Right, right. But maybe she's selling our stuff. She's still gonna make it. If this changes, 51% changes, it helps the business. I don't know. So for me, it's that the appearance is bad, and I don't know why someone wouldn't want to step out and use. Yeah, we got a bunch of profit, but we got a bunch of profit. We're now at the point now thinking about the ordinance, we're up to the government. I'm counting. I'm
We had earlier a budget workshop, and we'll continue now with our regular meeting. I just want to mention the meeting procedures. All items on the agenda will be open for public comments before final action is taken. Citizens wishing to introduce written materials into the record at the public meeting on any item are requested to provide a copy of the written material to the Administrative Service Director, City Clerk. It's on the end over there. Prior to the meeting, so that material may be distributed to the meeting, and speakers must restrict comments to items as it appear on the agenda and stay within 3-minute time limit. The mayor has a discretion of limiting the total discussion of time on each item. All right, we go to our first part. Let's see. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Kramer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. If you remain standing, moments of silence to remember our fallen heroes. Okay, thank you all. Mr. Flora, are there any changes to the agenda?
No modifications, Mr. Mayor.
All right, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as submitted?
Roll
call. Roll call. We did already that with on our workshop. Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second. All right, we'll go to our voting platform. All right. Our first item is Madam Clerk.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Go with first presentation is the June adoptable dogs. I'll see Charmaine up there. So.
Good evening, council. I'm like a nervous chihuahua, public speaking. Look at her. Same. Oh.
You need to get your helper to hold the dog.
She's fine. She's stressed. Okay, so the June adoptable dog is Baby Girl. She's a Chihuahua mix, about 5 years old. She has a little memo. It says, "Hi, I'm Baby Girl, a 5-year-old black mixed breed who's all heart. I'm a petite girl who loves nothing more than snuggling up close. I'm affectionate, cuddly, and so gentle with everyone I meet. I'm already spayed and heartworm negative, and I've lived happily with other dogs before, so I'd make a wonderful addition to any home. Come meet me and let's cuddle our way into your heart." See everybody? All right. Move on. So we have, I'll give the stats in just a second, but we have 52 dogs on site, 10 young puppies, 19 cats, and 6 of those are kittens. We have 31 dogs in foster homes. 15 of them are foster to adopt, so they're just waiting for their spay and neuter surgeries to finalize those adoptions. We have 9 cats in foster, a couple of adults and kittens, but 3 of those are neonates, which mean they still need a bottle. Let's see. Okay, so animal intakes since the last meeting. We took in 71 animals, 57 dogs and 12 cats, and 2 baby raccoons. And animal outcomes since the last meeting are 78, 56 dogs and 20 cats. We had 5 dogs returned to owners, 36 dogs transferred out, 5 euthanasia, and 1 died in care. And then for the cats, 18 transferred out and 1 euthanasia, so that's 20 cats. Other things happening since the last meeting. We've had some fun events. Sun Rover and Over hosted a fun run walk fundraiser. It's called It's for the Dogs. For us, we took 3 dogs from the shelter with us that drug us for like 2 miles. They totally could have kept going, but we were not. And we also brought puppies. On June 6th, we participated in the California Adopt a Pet Day. 2 cats and 4 puppies found families that day, sponsored by the ASPCA, California Animal Welfare Association, and the San Francisco SPCA. That same evening, we went to another fundraising event on our behalf at the Buckingham Golf and Country Club. And we took more puppies and a dog named Gumbo at the shelter. He's the shelter's longest resident, been there since 2023. He's doing great. He was in foster care. He's great with other dogs. And we do have a foster prospect that we're working with to take him over there probably tomorrow or the next day to see how he does. Then last weekend, we hosted a rattlesnake avoidance workshop at the shelter. We had a great turnout from the public, and a couple of our foster dogs participated also. And just last week, the SPCA of Lake County donated a spay and neuter day for the shelter animals on a Friday. They all came in and helped us check some dogs off our list. 8 dogs were spayed and neutered. And then we took a cat. She was already spayed. Ooh. And then coming up events on June 27th, we're having our first volunteer dog walking orientation. So we've had volunteers coming. We have some dog handlers, but this is like a specific orientation to teach volunteers who want to walk dogs, handle dogs, with our trainer, Steve from Canine Constitutional. So everybody's on the same page in handling animals the way we want them done. So we're hoping to get more volunteers on board to be able to walk dogs every morning, 7 days a week before it gets hot. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any questions of Romaine? No. All right, go now to presentation by We Serve Veterans. Notice that we have a little package on the dais here for everybody.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Rick Mayo, citizen of Clearlake, Vietnam veteran, Earl Morehouse, vice president, Army veteran, Vietnam. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you what We Serve Veterans stands for. In your packet, you have introductory letter that came from our CEO, David Wall-Smith. So I won't bore you with that. Then we have our 2025 accomplishments, developed and instituted major food distribution program during holidays, distribution of $3,800 in food vouchers to low income struggling veterans. Distributed 50 turkeys and 20 whole chickens. Sponsored host a free veteran dinner at the Clearlake American Legion and the Moose Lodge. Have partnered with the Clearlake Senior Center to provide food and meals on wheels to low income veterans and families. Made a $1,000 donation to the center to help them in that endeavor. Purchased food vouchers agreements with grocery outlet foods stores, both here and Middletown, and outreach. And let me see, where am I? And the River Air Food Market in Kelseyville. Bus passes, transportation, distribution locations, Lakeport VSO, Clearlake VA, Clearlake Clinic, the Clearlake VFW, Clearlake American Legion, and the Clearlake Oaks Moose Lodge. We purchased a cargo trailer and retrofitted for supplies and marketing and outreach. Vouchers, distribution, and to Clearlake VFW, Clearlake American Legion, swim, Solano Women in Medicine, around the lake, North and South Shore, and Clearlake Oaks Moose Lodge. Homeless emergency shelter evacuations. We are partnered with the Clearlake American Legion for 12 beds in emergency. Clearlake VFW, 12 beds in the case of an emergency. Cobb Mountain Community Church, 6 beds. Major presentation to Board of Supervisors was made on May the 20th, 2025. We took over the Pearl Harbor Memorial and retrofitted that for Pearl Harbor Day. Numerous We Serve Veteran presentations with vendors, organizations, and entities. We reestablished our veteran pinning ceremonies. If you would flip through your packet, this is what the document looks like. We happen to have pinned our Vice President, Earl Morehouse, at the American Legion a few days ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank him for his service to this country. We also are starting to reinstitute this around the lake with the other partner, veteran organization partners that we have, because we want to make sure that all of our veterans in this community know that we appreciate their service. Okay, moving right along. All right. We continue to support annual veteran stand downs in the South Shore. That they are held at the American Legion now in Austin. All funds raised are spent in Lake County to help veterans. We have all volunteer advocate staff, no paid staff at all. We're all veterans who serve. We continue to acquire necessary veteran homeless and at-risk data to apply for grants. We thank all of our local businesses, patrons, sponsors for this year's success in serving our local veteran community. Okay. Oh, you did. Okay, you beat me to the punch. But those are the $25 free veteran food vouchers that we give out to any needy veteran families, Gold Star families in our local community. Clearlake has 459 veterans here in the city of Clearlake, and they're shared between the American Legion and the VFW. So, all right, moving along here. We personally want to thank the city of Clearlake for joining us as a partner in serving our veteran community and for co-sponsoring free veteran dinner and dance at the American Legion once a month. We congratulate you for doing that. If you will look at the brochure, this one. This one has all the other veteran affiliates that we partner with. Our mission is mission-oriented, results-driven. With over 7,000 veterans in our beautiful community, your support goes a long way to make our community a better place. And we have some testimonials from the sheriff of Lake County, the police chief of Clearlake, and Joyce Overton, the senior center director. It's very impressive, all of these individuals that think we're doing a good job. Okay, I will turn the rest of the program over to Earl. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name's Earl Morehouse. I am one of 3 people that comprise We Serve Vets. My job is I have a trailer. I parked it outside. You may have seen it. I take that trailer down to the VA on Mondays and Wednesdays. There at the VA, when a vet goes in the building, when he comes out, he's looking at me. And what do I have? Everything a vet could want. Socks, underwear, t-shirts, toothbrushes, money, food, clothing, tents, sleeping bags. Everything that a vet could want is in my trailer, our trailer, excuse me. And it is no charge to the vet. Absolutely free. So I've got the trailer out here. If anybody would like to walk out there and look at it, I'll be happy to open it for you. Any and all, anybody wants to look at it. That being said and done, thank you for your time and your support. Thank you. I'm not getting behind you. You ran over me last week. Backed right over my foot, he did.
Members of the council, again, thank you for your support, for supporting your veteran community. And this concludes our presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right, we'll go now to public comments, but the first item is a proclamation I want to read. It's LGBTQIA plus Pride Month this month, June 2026. Whereas our nation was founded on the principle of equal rights for all people, but the fulfillment of this promise has long been coming for many Americans. Some of the most inspiring moments in our history have arisen from the various civil rights movements that have brought one group after another from the margins to the main street of American society. And whereas in the movement towards equal rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, asexual people, a historic turning point occurred on June 28, 1969 in New York City with the onset of the Stonewall riots. During these riots, LGBTQAI plus citizens rose up and resisted police harassment that arose out of discrimination, criminal laws that have since been declared unconstitutional. In the 4 decades since civil rights for LGBTQA plus, people have grown substantially, and the LGBTQA plus pride celebrations have taken place around the country every June to commemorate the beginning of the Stonewall riots. And whereas California has been a leader in advancing of its LGBTQA plus citizens, and while further progress is needed, it's important to recognize and celebrate the substantial gains that have been achieved, and the city of Clearlake stands with the LGBTQA community in the struggle to ensure equal rights for all, and to advocate for LGBTQ rights as human rights. Therefore, the City Council of the City of Clearlake does hereby proclaim June 2026 at LGBTQA plus Pride Month in the City of Clearlake, and advocate for the protection for all individuals to make our community a place where people, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, are treated with dignity and respect. Thank you, signed by me. And there is nobody here that can accept this proclamation, but I will give it to some people that would really appreciate this proclamation. All right, we go now to public comment. Crystal, wait, come up.
Hello, my name is Crystal Pack. First off, shame on you, Chief Ops, and your Lieutenant Ryan Peterson. Not sure if you guys knew about that meeting they had with me this week. Shame on all of you if you did. I don't know if I have stupid written across my forehead. I had like something to say when I came up here, but I know that 2 officers' words in a court of law will hold up against mine. I could be telling the truth and they can corroborate their lie. And what if I'm telling the truth, it's not going to matter because that's 2 officers. And I was taken in a back room, no audio, no video, no body cams. And then your chief of police himself admitted to altering body cam footage, and it's all recorded. You know what I mean? Like it's funny. And it wasn't to deal with an issue. He wasn't answering any question. There was nothing. He did respond with he was gonna give a written response to my questions, right? But he didn't. When I tried, why, if you're gonna cut me off through the meeting, you don't want to listen to anything I have to say, why would you meet with me? I don't know, riddle me that one, right? And you were pretty upset because I brought a quote unquote crowd.
You need to direct your comments to the
Hold on.
council.
Oh, what?
You need to
Okay,
direct
fine,
it to
that's
the
fine, that's fine. Because I brought a crowd, which is the property owner who I have a power of attorney over, right? And somebody has to take notes because I knew I was gonna be I was nervous, right? But they didn't see. Like, I don't know what kind of, I'm a little new to this, I'm still a little nervous, you know what I mean? And your officers, that's the chief of police telling me that I'm not subject to everything on body. Well, you guys are at my house. Why can't I see the body cam footage? You're going to alter it and redact it for generalized. It's not okay. Transparency, the transparency issue, completely, like, and I'm going to get stonewalled. Like, I'm not a bad person. I don't go around doing bad things. You know what I mean? Like, I come up here, I've been coming up here, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep coming back. And if I have to take it to court, I'm taking it to court. And your chief admitted on camera. Oops.
Thank you.
I'm not done yet. I'm going to wait for my clock to run out. Even if I stand here in silence, you guys are going to stare at me. The next intel, I don't know. Shame on you.
Thank you. All right, the next is Carolyn Jarrett.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Jarrett. I've lived in the city of Clearlake since 1983. I was a teacher at Burns Valley School for 18 years, and then I served 8 years on the Canuck School Board. I feel very attached to my community. I know that the issue of vacation rentals is complex, but I believe the council is elected to serve the needs of the community. There is a housing shortage. It does not help to take houses off the market, which could be going to families and retired folks who live here now. Vacation rentals are disruptive to their neighbors. They negatively impact our narrow streets with parked cars, boats, and trailers. They often create noise, excess noise from people who come here to celebrate and party. They often cause unsightly yards as vacation rentals leave their garbage. We are told to call code enforcement or the police department to report these violations. But our departments are overworked and understaffed and could be using their time for more important issues. At the last meeting, Jessica Houghton told a very amusing fairy tale. She said that outside buyers want vacation rentals because that way they can pay off mortgages and move here when they retire. But the facts show otherwise. She herself, as a real estate agent, has sold 2 properties in my neighborhood to a man who lives in the Riviera, who immediately turned them into vacation rentals and never intends to live in either one of them. It is my opinion that Jessica has a conflict of interest as she directly benefits from the loosening of city rules and regulations. I am deeply disappointed that the rest of the council has not asked her to recuse herself from any discussion and voting regarding this issue. If it is not illegal, it is unseemly and dishonorable, and she should certainly recuse herself. People in my neighborhood have been in discussion with the city manager, and certain council members regarding this issue for 15 months. We thought we had a meeting of the minds. The 51% rule is a fair safeguard for the integrity of our neighborhoods. Now it seems the council is ready to get rid of it, and we are being thrown under the bus. We are at the point where the council needs to decide who you really represent. The big money buyers from outside the city and the real estate agents looking for a fat commission, or the people, the working families and the seniors who compromise the neighborhoods that elected you. Please do the right thing.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else from the public that wants to speak? Come on up.
Good evening, Margaret Garcia with the city of Clearlake. I've come up many times to talk about the road conditions and potholes and streets that aren't even streets, they're just potholes. And I am serious about trying to pursue some kind of a point where some streets aren't just so horribly in disarray. And things can't be more evenly spread to where there is some work getting done on streets that have been neglected for literally decades. And I do want to take Alan Flora's thought of me coming in to make an appointment to discuss this. And maybe I should just do this right now because I haven't gotten any return phone call from you, Alan, about that. I did leave you a message and I would like to come in and have a talk with you outside of the city council meeting. So it'd be great if you could get back to me on that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? If not, anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll go to item number H, consent agenda. Anybody who wants to pull an item or have any? If not, can I have a motion to approve the consent?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Is there anybody from the public who wants to comment on this item? Not, bring it back here. We can submit our vote. Right. We'll go to item number 7, adoption of the city. Okay. Oh, we're waiting for.
We have
Member Wilson.
only 3 votes.
Sorry.
If we can't see that. So.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Great. Now we'll go to item number 7, adoption of the city of Clearlake budget for fiscal year 2026-27. Earlier today, we had a budget workshop. Everything was discussed in general terms. Is there anybody else, any more comments about it?
Yeah, I'll
Mr.
just
Floyd?
turn it over to finance manager sales, but there's really nothing to add unless the council has additional questions from the workshop.
I have no additional questions. Nobody else? Okay. Can I have a motion? Oh, no, anybody from the public wants to comment on? If not,
Sometimes it's Margaret Garcia, City of Clear Lake. I feel compelled sometimes just to come up and ask a question because I'm just curious. This is the budget. I don't have my glasses on. The budget for the next year, in other words.
Yep.
And so I guess you guys have discussed the budget between yourselves, and it's not necessary to discuss anything specific.
there was a budget workshop starting at 5 o'clock today.
See, I miss those things.
Yep.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the time, and I will let you proceed. Thank you.
Ms. Garcia, there's also a link. If you look at the staff report, our entire budget is on our website. So if you have any questions when we meet about the roads, you can ask.
Super. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, can I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve, adopt resolution number 2026-22, approving the city of Clear Lake's budget for fiscal year 2026-2027.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Voting seems to be stuck. Oh, there we go. There you go. Yep, been accepted. You good? We're good.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
We go to number 8. Item number 8, adoption of appropriation limit, the GAN limit for fiscal 2026 and designate the formula to be used for calculating the same. Mr. Flora.
So I'll turn it over to finance manager sales to talk about this item.
Thank you and good evening. Mr. Mayor, council members, the state constitution requires all government agencies adopt appropriation limit each fiscal year. That's based on a calculation overseen by the Department of Finance. The city's proposed budget is 2.8 million below the maximum appropriations limit. So it would be appropriate for the council at this point to adopt resolution 2026-23, approving fiscal year 26-27 appropriations limit.
Okay. Any questions? If not, any from the public wants to make a comment on this item? If not, anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so should I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-23, resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake adopting the appropriation limit for fiscal year 2026-27 and designated in the formula to be used for calculations of the same.
So we have a motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Yeah, let's see. Get our portal to work. All right,
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
very good. We go to item number 9, adoption of the City of Clear Lake fee schedule for the fiscal year 2026-27. Mr. Flora.
Turn it over to finance manager sales.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, council members, each year along with the adoption of the budget, the council adopts the fee schedule for the upcoming fiscal year. There were a number of changes this year, so I have 5 points I wanted to touch on briefly. This year, staff proposes a number of non-substantive changes, such as removing redundant information, condensing information, and adjusting for clarity. 3 sections were affected by those types of changes: business license fees, building permit application fees, and special event fees. Additional fees were also added for different types of solar electricity systems. That appears under the building permit section. Staff advised that Previously, our solar fees were too narrow, limited only to roofs, and too low. The new proposed fees are more in line with standard practice and will help with cost recovery for associated staff time. Third, there's a correction under the planning fees section. Lot line adjustment and lot line merger amounts were transposed, so the $500 and $800 fees got switched for the two of those. Let's see here. Number 4, under special events, there's a new $200 road closure fee. And lastly, added last year was a fire mitigation fee, and that received the required annual adjustment. This year, the 20 city average engineering cost index year over year, June to June, was 4.1%, and the fee was adjusted accordingly. If there are no questions related to this, that's all I have to report for the fee schedule, and would recommend the council adopt resolution 2026-24.
Any questions? No questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Anybody from the public wants to comment on this item? If not here, anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Bring it back to the council for adoption.
Mr. Mayor, I'm making a move to adopt the resolution approving fiscal year 26-27 fee schedule, which is resolution number 2026-24.
We have a motion, have a second.
I'll second it.
A motion and second go to our portal. Right,
Motion passes with the unanimous vote of the council.
very good. We'll go to item number 10, consideration of adoption of resolution 2026-20, a stop sign installation and evaluation policy. Mr.
Director Leva.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, the city council is being asked to adopt a stop sign installation and evaluation policy. City of Clearlake regularly receives requests seeking installation of stop signs at intersections throughout the community. These requests are often based on concerns regarding speeding, visibility, pedestrian safety, or perceived collision risk. While stop signs can be effective traffic control devices when appropriately placed, traffic engineering research demonstrates that improperly placed stop signs may reduce compliance, increase rear-end collisions, and create unnecessary traffic delays. The California Vehicle Code and Municipal Manual and Uniform Traffic Control Devices require that traffic control devices be installed based on engineering judgment and traffic studies. I did meet with members of the Traffic Safety Committee, and we discussed several different traffic concerns throughout the city, with the stop signs being a major topic of discussion, and decided it was appropriate to come up with this policy and bring it to council. And this policy will improve transparency, support traffic safety objectives, and ensure that traffic control devices are installed in accordance with accepted engineering practices and state standards. This policy acknowledges that stop signs are generally not intended as speed control devices and should not be installed solely to reduce speeding. The fiscal impact associated with implementation of this policy is expected to be minimal and can be accommodated within existing public works operating budget. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, just one. You know, stop signs, especially out in the avenues, it seems like where they're needed the most in some cases, but the part about them slowing down before they get to the stop sign, that seems to be a major problem that I've noticed anyway. Is there any signs, or any recommendation for signs approaching stop sign, or
Like a
slow
warning
down
sign
ahead?
that tells you a stop
Warning
sign's
sign.
coming?
Yeah, that would be
No.
good. Okay, would that be something?
The inside your packet, I believe, is our evaluation and process for evaluating that inside
Okay,
the packet.
all right. I guess I'll read it a little more closely then, unless you can.
I mean, your suggestion is a good one, Councilmember Kramer, but you know, we need to, I think, focus on the stop signs first. And I mean, there's a, like a lot of the other issues we have, there's
All
a
right.
fairly monumental task.
Okay, so
We
you
just
are
have to
thinking-
Start taking a bite at it. Yeah.
You aren't thinking,
Yes.
that was the main thing. Thank you.
Right, any other questions? If not, we open to the public. Anybody from the public wants to comment on this? Mrs. Garcia.
Margaret Garcia, City of Clear Lake. Regarding the stop signs, I'm not sure where this all leads to, but there's a particular intersection, and I'm just curious how this would work. Lakeshore Boulevard and Park Street, right up the road, and the two roads meet, and there's no stop sign for either direction, and the oncoming as well. So, and I'm not sure what is expected at that intersection. I avoid it because, you know, people come up pretty fast. And so I'm just curious if that's something that would be looked into with this stop sign thing you're talking about. But that's Park Street and Lakeshore Boulevard.
I think
There is a stop sign there.
There is a stop sign, but not all
Yeah.
directions.
We did look at that, Dexter.
So, Margaret, if you want to have that looked at, there's a form to fill out and then they will look at it. more.
Okay, is that through the code enforcement or?
It's
No,
it's on Public Works.
we have a form. We're going to be able to put it on the website now that I didn't want to put it up there until it was approved.
That's the purpose of this whole discussion, this policy, so that you can just go on the website and request us to look at it and then implement it if appropriate.
The website I still find very user unfriendly. I don't know, maybe it's me, but it's not the easiest and the prettiest thing I've seen. So
Thank you. Anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk, on this issue? If not, can I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-20. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake adopting a stop sign installation and evaluation policy.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. We'll go to our portal to vote.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Item number 11, update and discussion regarding the Lake County Sanitation District. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, council members. So, as you know, we've been having a lot of discussions about the sanitation district. I don't have a lot here, but I thought it may be appropriate to have sort of a standing item to share some information with the council related to that. So you'll recall on May 7th, we had a discussion. You gave me direction on a number of items. One of the important ones is request for information. On May 12th, I sent the county a very lengthy request for information, a number of documents. On June 4th, 23 days after that request, I got a response that they would provide an update within 14 days, which is today. While we're having the meeting, I did get an email from Special Districts Administrator informing us that they are working on providing some documents to us. So I know we were hoping to get some information in a timely manner, and there's concerns about whether that was going to happen. Clearly it's not. I would also point out that there was also a request by Supervisor Sabatier for detailed information to the Board of Supervisors / Board of Directors of the district recently. And they were told that the task was so enormous to provide those documents, basically not to expect anything anytime soon. Not great news there. I'll keep you updated when we do get any documents.
Is there any way we can make them?
Well, there may be some paths for that we could talk with our attorney about at a different time, but
okay. All right.
I mean, I think, as we all know, the most important way to, or the most effective way presumably to get better information or get any information and see some changes is related to the governance structure of the current board. You know, I think the council knows we've been working on that, and unless there's a change of course, the board of directors should be initiating a process on July 7th related to that. So hopefully that all stays on track. I think that should make a big difference. The other thing I wanted to mention that was also directed, and we did do over the last couple of weeks, is we have issued 10 of our own notices of violation to the sanitation district for a number of things, mostly related to the number of sewer spills. I think there have been the Robin Lane one and then 3 that we're aware of since then. So there's a number of violations of the municipal code related to that. And then also you're aware that the lift station 1 and lift station 2 both do not have adequate odor control devices, and they've had notices of violation from the Lake County Air Quality Control District since 2023 that haven't been resolved. And it's also a violation of our municipal code. So we have begun to try to use that additional avenue in order to see some accountability. That's really what I have to report. Be happy to address any questions around this topic.
If you have additional questions, anybody else?
I think we just move forward with putting as much pressure as possible. And then take whatever steps legally that we need to, if that doesn't work going forward.
Anybody from the public wants to comment on this item?
Hi, Margaret Garcia, City of Clearlake. I think, you know, maybe a foot of someone's behind might be helpful in this regard, because they seem to be just totally indifferent to anything that has to do with this. I mean, how, if they can just refuse to produce or to report or whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing, I think they should be reprimanded in whatever way, whether it's fines from the city, whatever you can do to bite back on that. I mean, you've got to hold them accountable for these things. And I'm wondering how much this may have affected the lake, of course, and the lake's, what's in the lake, and which I'd like to know more about anytime soon. So anyway, thank you guys.
Yeah. All right. Anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom.
All right.
I think Ms. Garcia has a pretty good understanding of that issue, although her preferred option would probably get me in trouble with Chief Hobbs, so we won't do that one.
All right, we'll go to city manager and council member reports. Mr. Flora again.
Just a couple additional things. Our staff are working on preparing a housing element update for the general plan. That cycle for our update is we're required to have the update next year. So we're trying to handle that in-house this time. It's a pretty expensive project, and with the budget situation, our staff are working on it. Code enforcement has been a little bit behind on some of their regular duties lately because they're doing an enormous amount of work supporting the Clearlake Environmental Research Center's vegetation cleanup efforts that they're getting ready to start. So there's a number of areas around town that they have been working on getting right of entry forms for, near Meadowwood, some other areas in the avenues, and then the lower avenues out to the east side of Walmart. And so they've been fairly successful in getting right of entries, but these are, I don't know, in total, maybe a couple of thousand parcels close to it. And so ones that we can't get a right of entry form for, code enforcement is working on abatement warrants. And then once access to the property is secured, clerk will be going in and doing vegetation removal on all those properties at no cost to the city or to the property. So it is going to be a really important project. We're glad that it's finally coming together, but we're being a little patient with some of the other code enforcement duties because they have to visit each parcel individually and take pictures and document that before we're able to get a warrant. The Burns Valley Arrowhead Olympic Road project should be finished with all the striping tomorrow. So the project looks great. We're still waiting on HCD for clearance to move forward with the Dam Road roundabout. Had some issues with font size, wasn't to their standards. So been having a lot of conversations with HCD to get that straightened out, but hopefully that's coming soon.
All right. Oops.
I'll go.
Yeah, please.
I don't have much. I was able to tour, Calpine, the geysers.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and Mary went alongside and Alan was there. And, our project manager from the city joined us. It was really cool to get to see how that all works, and especially with, you know, geothermal wanting to come into the area. It was nice to get kind of a hands-on view and some really good information about how they make clean energy. About it.
Councilwoman Wilson.
To piggyback on what Councilmember Hooton said, I was really proud to be reminded that we have the biggest geothermal plant in the world, and that's amazing for Northern California. I served on a committee for the League of Cities to, let me look at what the name of it. It's about using it's about using art to develop do economic development. It doesn't have a lot to do with the city other than it's something that we could look at more in depth. The projects ran the gamut. There was cities that use superhero art as a branding. There are cities that have a database of artists. There's cities that use the arts to develop youth leadership. So I can't tell you who won though, because they're gonna announce it at an event. So when it comes out, I will be able to tell you that. I also attended the League of Cities Advancing Equity Committee meeting last week. We are looking at developing community tools for advancing equity in our cities, and the city survey is just about ready to go. I think we're looking at putting it out in November. And that's it.
Councilman Kramer. You didn't think I know your name? No.
Microphone plug.
I want to commend Councilmember Wilson on taking on the League of Cities representation. You've done a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Meeting, they had APC, actually Mayor Slotin and both were at APC meeting since our last meeting. A couple things of just kind of interest, I think. Lake County Safe, which is Service Authority for Freeway Emergencies, which of course we don't have much in the way of freeways in Lake County, but what it deals with are the call boxes that we find on I think on Highway 20 and probably in a few other places in the county. They've been trying for several years to upgrade them and make them a little more reliable, maybe make a few more of them. There's a lot of discussion on whether we should be really spending as much time on 20th century technology rather than 21st century technology with cell phones, since everybody has a cell phone. But there is several $100,000 that's allocated to seeing what can be done to improve the service on the cell phones. And then the second one that's also interesting, I think, is something that
It came up several years ago and everybody kind of thought, well, geez, come on. And that is ferry service, the feasibility of ferry service in Lake County on Clearlake. Something that happened 100 years ago and we didn't have great roads going around it, but since. Anyhow, before we talked about it, it actually makes some sense. And we are doing a feasibility study with grant money from Caltrans. I think it's, let's see, 179,271 is being put up on the grant with a local match of 23,000 and change for a total project cost of 202,500. And it's to look at ferry service across the lake from all aspects, from a tourist standpoint, from transportation, for evacuation, things that I quite honestly didn't think about when we first started thinking about it. I think it's going to be an interesting study and I'll wait for the report. And that's my report.
The only thing I added to that was I recently had to go down 20 all the way to Williams. And I noticed that in Colusa County, there are none. So I don't know what that means. And it also suggested if they have another Caltrans kind of grant, that we might include a gondola to the top of the mountain as a tourist attraction, but I don't know if that goes very far. I did also attend the LAFCO meeting yesterday in which we approved the dissolution of the Scotts Valley Water and Conservation District. That was apparently been in existence since the early 70s. Never had any money, never did anything. They had a board of directors that been trying to fill for the last 15 years and only 2 members kind of still on there. So it was legally not even operating. The county asked LAFCO to make that resolution. So now it'll be managed by whatever they were supposed to manage by the county itself. That's my report. Although I have a little personal item, is that I got a free backup battery installed in my house. Tesla battery, a whole house battery. So there are some programs out there in PG&E that have that. Look on your PG&E bill and see if you're eligible for that. All right. Any future agenda items? If not, we'll adjourn to closed session.